We now move on towards one of the highlights of today's session. Each of our esteemed panel members bring a unique perspective to the table. They will be discussing going beyond likes, measuring ROI from influencer campaigns. The panelists of this session are as follows. Minnie Jacob, the co-founder for Oddbox, moderating the panel. Ahmed Samir, International Marketing Manager, Middle East and Africa, Inspire Brands. Alexander Debare, Chief Growth Officer, Burger 28. Kareem, Chief Marketing Officer, PJP Investments Group, UAE, KSA, and Jordan. Rana Almaini, Group Marketing Director, Marister Hospitality.
Hello, check. Yes. So here we are, almost at lunch, and we've got one more panel to go. So bear with me, we've got these amazing panelists here. And what we're going to talk about is rather interesting, I would think. So imagine walking down the street and getting the aroma of freshly brewed coffee or freshly baked bread. And what happens is you just tend to move towards it and get attracted to it and move into the place wherever you're getting this fragrance from, the aroma from. And as I understand, that's kind of what happens with influencer marketing. So whatever the influencer is saying is what the people tend to just do, right? I'm sure that's what you all agree with as well. But again, there are lots of nuances as far as the influencer marketing is concerned, and that is what we are here for, to discuss what are the different aspects that come into play. So Rana, if I can start with you. Now the first step is of selecting the influencers. So what are the factors that you consider to select the right influencer?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your question, Mini. So definitely, this is the most important step to select the right influencer for your brand and for the product that you want to promote or the campaign that you want to start. And this should be part of your influencer strategy. So there are three important factors to highlight and to identify, which is definitely the budget first. Based on your budget, you can decide if you're going with a micro influencer or a celebrity, mega, or even if you're going with a selection of more than one micro influencers, like 5, 6 micro influencers. So budget can help you with the selection, definitely, but the most important factor is the demographics and the followers of the influencers. Because based on your target audience and based on your campaign objective, you can decide which influencer is the best for your campaign and for your product. So there are so many tools that can help you with looking at each influencer demographics and their followers, like age group or countries or their like locations, nationalities, because maybe you're planning to do a localized campaign, not GCC related or a global campaign. So then you need to look into more a micro influencers or foodies, since we're talking about F&B industry. So foodies helps a lot with your marketing campaigns and influencers campaigns. So this is the main factors I would say, like, we need to consider when you're planning any influencers campaign.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Now, coming to you, Alex, I know you did mention that influencer marketing is not
Well,
really
it's a derogatory term. It's content creator.
Yes, it's content creator, so let's call it that. So as a brand, who would you go for? Like, you hear the zillions of words like the mega and the macro and the nano and whatnot, right? So who do you think are the right kinds to approach, and how do you determine those?
So it really depends on the brand goals, it depends on the target audience, and then it also depends on your budget. I mean, I know somebody who spent $1 million on an influencer to get an amazing ROI, but not everybody has that kind of budget. For example, as Burger 28, I'm I'm a small fish in a big sea or pond or however you want to discuss it, and I can't spend $1 million, for example. However, back in the day, I did have a budget of around 50, 60,000 dirhams I used to spend per month, and that was for around 9 to 10 influencers to post once. And I would do it around 2 or 3 times per week, focusing at the beginning of the month, because obviously people get their salaries, and toward tapering off in the middle of the month, and then focusing more at the end of the month. But I think when you're looking at how much money you want to spend, that's one side of it. The question is why are people following, engaging, or interested in that particular person that you're trying to choose? And as you quite rightly said, more and more, I don't think life's, just because I like somebody's style, how they dress, where they travel, the hotels they go to, doesn't mean I like what kind of cheesecake they order,
Right.
or what kind of donut they go and have, or what kind of coffee. So I think the market is emerging in such a way that there are so many amazing content creators who are smaller, and some of them will even do it for free. And I think having a strategy where you have many small content creators posting about the same particular item or the same brand at the same time in a week, for example, could yield a better ROI than paying somebody 50,000 dirhams who's a mega influencer or a celebrity at $1 million or something like that. We are moving from a time where there was so few people creating content, so few influencers, to now everybody's a content creator. So that means your feed has so many different people in it. So just having one person talk about it, I think, in my opinion, doesn't give you the reach that it used to. So I would focus more on the nano and more on people who will do a barter or people who will not charge that much money. You need to keep in mind that, I mean, just before us, they were talking about performance marketing on the actual platforms. More and more money is going there because you can actually measure your ROI. You can see your return on ad spend, which with an influencer is very difficult. On our call before we had this talk, you had mentioned that as an e-commerce brand, it's so much easier. You could have a link where you can actually track your return on ad spend.
Or even a coupon code.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's easy to track ROI or measure your campaign success when it's e-commerce versus a dine-in brand or a restaurant. It's seriously
So we will come to those difficult. We'll come to those difficult parts of the discussion a little later. Alex, would you
but as a restaurant, you obviously have multiple channels. Like at Burger 28, I have dine-in, I have car hop, I have talabat, I have Deliveroo, I have Noon. Do I need to exhaust all the lists of different channels? So how do you measure who's coming from which channel and why? It's very, very difficult.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's difficult to measure the ROI with influencers. As an awareness top of funnel, I think it's very important. And if you have a huge budget, like some people in this room might have, then it could make a lot of sense to invest a huge amount of money. But I'm seeing more money flow into performance marketing on the actual aggregators.
Right. But when you're selecting influencers or content creators, Alex, we do need to take care of figuring out how they align with the brand's values and whether they align with what the target audience that you're looking at, right? So Rana, if you could come back to...
Definitely target audience is very important. So if you are planning to run a campaign to target Gen Z audience or a product that is targeting Gen Z audience, then you need to target the influencers that are having Gen Z audience, Gen Z followers, using platforms that target Gen Z, such as like TikTok influencers. So it's all about identifying the objective of your campaign and who you are targeting. This will make it much easier for you to choose the right influencer and to measure also the success of the campaign. Also, I would say the brief is very important to the influencer and to make sure that the influencer knows the brand guidelines, very familiar with the brand identity, key messages, the product. So it's all part of the brief. And so this is mainly the main factors.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Karim, I know you've done some very interesting work on leveraging AI for influencer marketing. So could you tell us a little about how Papa John's has done that and how those metrics have influenced your overall strategy with influencer marketing?
I'm lucky to get, AI and influencers, both that are very, very hyped terms in the recent times. So basically, I build on what my colleagues are talking about. What AI does is it just makes it easier and more efficient to actually run the whole process. Because we often know there's a lot of great marketers out there that what are the KPIs that we need to track, how to select the right content creators, just for my colleague right here. So it's about scale, and it's about becoming overwhelming, because we got lots of content, and now, a lot of there are AI content creators as well. So it becomes very difficult to make that selection and to have it streamlined. So often we would have done it back in the day. It's as if we're blindfolded in a location and we're just tapping for an agency to help us get there. But these agencies also have multiple clients, and then it depends on the availability on that small pool of influencers that they have. So what AI does is that it just scales it better. There are multiple tools that are out there. So there are tools that will help you look through thousands and thousands of different content creators that would actually meet your criteria in terms of your target demographic, your budgets, and the tone. There are other tools that will help you with natural language models to understand if the content created at scale, of all of these influencers matches your brand voice. And often you would have to do it manually. So and the agency that's managing your influencers has a list of 100 influencers that they can look into that much detail. Whereas with AI, you just go beyond that and you go to a much larger scale. And the third part is there's predictive analysis now, AI that can predict on whether that campaign is going to be successful or not based on the previous posts of these specific set of people that you have selected. So it just makes it less of guesswork. It's as if it's giving your old map and it became a live GPS, right? So you get more insights that are on the spot. And the last one would be, of course, authenticity. And there are lots of AIs that really track the authenticity of the content. And these are tools that we use. And it's about it's not going to create the way you use influencers, but it's just going to help you do it better. And at Papa John's, we're all about better ingredients, better pizza. And it's about trying to get things done in a more effective and a better way.
Tapan, he's got it right there. So, great, fantastic. Now, of course, I'm sure when all of you run these campaigns, there is this whole thing of, okay, is it going to be a success? How is it going to be? But coming to you, Ahmed, how would you define success of a campaign?
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And thanks everyone here for the insights. And definitely influencers are becoming an essential part in all our marketing campaigns. But how we are measuring the ROI and how we can say that the campaign was successful or no. So there are many ways to measure the success. And it's different from a company to another and from a brand to another. So, but usually they are all related to 4 different aspects. So the first one, it will be the sales and conversion. Second one, it will be the brand awareness. The third one, it will be the brand engagement. And the last one, and I believe it's getting more and more important now these days, is the influencer generated content. Okay? So if you will focus on the sales, I believe it will be more straightforward because you have your own data that you earned during the period of the campaign, and you can correlate to what happened in this marketing action. And also, as Rana said, and also Sandra said in the first session, the codes and the links that we are giving, it will help us as well to track the sales. Okay. The second one, if you will focus on the brand awareness, I believe it will be a bit harder in order to track all the reach that you got from the campaign regarding your brand. But it's not impossible. There are a lot of metrics that you can use, like the social sharing, the social listening, and even you can compare the number of followers that you gained during the campaign, okay? And you can compare it to normal weeks. And according to the State of Influencer Marketing benchmark report done by Influencer Marketing Hub, they said since 2019 and the precedent years that most of the answers that they got from the agencies, the brands, that the ways that they are using to measure the success, I believe the least important or the least answer that they got was the sales and conversion. Then starting from 2020 and 2021, they saw that it is becoming the number one, the sales and conversion. But things changed starting from 2023. So 50% of the answers was the views, the impression, and the reach, okay? And 24% was for the engagement, and 22% went to the sales and conversion. So I'll come back again to what Sandra said in the first session. I'm referring to Sandra since she is the marketing manager for Dunkin'. She said the sales are important, but not as important as the visibility of the brand and the awareness that the brand is getting from the influencer campaign. Yeah, this is in a nutshell.
Yeah, so when you say, of course, the conversions are important, but at the same time, like you referred to Sasha, the visibility and the followers or all those things are more important. But when you start with an influencer campaign or a content creation campaign, do you actually decide prior to the campaign that this is what my objective is? Do I want sales? Do I want visibility? Or is it always just primarily visibility for you guys?
Okay, so this is the number one advice that we should all follow. And as per Rana, she was saying, before starting the campaign, you have to decide what is the objective, what is the goal of the campaign, why I am doing a collab with an influencer. So your objective should be 100% clear. And you should onboard the influencer on this objective because you will help him to give you a better content.
Right.
Okay? So you should decide what are your KPIs. And the KPIs are a lot. And again, they are different from a company to another and from a brand to another and from a campaign to a campaign. Right. Because every campaign, it's having its own needs. So the KPIs are a lot. So either it will be the interaction of your Instagram post, it will be the number of followers that you will be gaining, the engagement, the reach, the views, the numbers of the new subscribers to your newsletter or email list, or if you are launching, for example, an app or you are doing an awareness about your app, so the numbers of downloads and the conversion of the downloads to the registration, and again, the last one, the transaction, the checkout. How many from the people who downloaded, registered, completed the transaction, and a lot more. The KPIs, there are a lot, and you should decide them before the campaign, and you should onboard the influencer.
Right, right, great.
I also want to add
Yes, sure.
regarding your question. So any KPI that you will choose, at the end of the day, it will have a combination of awareness and sales, or awareness and app downloads, or awareness and followers increase. Because this is the beauty of influencers campaign. It will always get you awareness. This is guaranteed. Then the rest of the KPIs are not guaranteed. Yeah.
Right. So we have a content creator right in our midst. If any of you have not seen Alex's Insta page, I would totally say to follow because he comes up with some amazing videos. So tell us, Alex, how do you track the impact of what you do?
So you paid her to say this?
Small sum of money.
Not enough. That's why just one line.
Obviously, at the end of the day, everybody wants some sort of return as a monetary. You want to increase your sales. As I said, around 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when we used to run influencer campaigns, I could actually see an uptick in revenue. For example, you could see that for 2 weeks, from your baseline, you would have an increase of 25%, let's say, or 30%. Nowadays, it's becoming more difficult because it's supply and demand at the end of the day. Before, there was not that much supply on all these platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and there's the demand, but now there's a lot of supply. So it's difficult to cut through the noise. So as my colleagues are saying, when you're doing an influencer campaign, you really need to have your priorities of what you want to achieve, but the key thing needs to be awareness and brand visibility. The conversion will come later down the line on the aggregators or doing certain special products which might convert the person at the time who's looking at the content which is being made. So obviously to measure, you have the social metrics, which Rasha said were vanity metrics. So you have likes, you have views, you have shares, and things like that. But just because you get 1 million views on a video doesn't mean that people are gonna buy your donut or they're gonna buy your pizza. It doesn't necessarily mean that. On the plus side, I would say, even though you are top of funnel when you're using social media influencers, is that we all have to eat 3 times a day. So the intent is there 3 times a day. So hopefully you can convert some people, unlike, let's say, Rimowa, which is a luggage brand, where they need to advertise. I don't know how many times you have to see an advertisement before you have the intent to buy a new suitcase, which is once every 10 years. So I think that's something which works. Having a link where you can track, which a lot of e-commerce brands use, is something that you can experiment with, but it's quite difficult because there's so many different channels. But I liked what you said about potentially having like an email marketing list and getting people to subscribe to that. Because then you have direct access to the individual and you can share your promotions. But you need to be really careful. It can't be too salesy. It can't be too boring. It really needs to be engaging. So if you do work with a massive influencer, how can you use their reach to convert people to have a channel to discuss or talk or open that conversation? Because people want to have conversations with brands.
Right.
It's very difficult to have a relationship with an inanimate object. I think something which is also interesting is think about how you could create a product in collaboration or create a singular product and get multiple people to talk about it. Because you can really measure the sale of this particular Alain bottle, which is written in blue. You can see that on a store level. You can go into the store, you can speak with your staff and ask, are people asking about it? Are people interested in it? And I think that would be the best way in this day and age to really measure exactly what your ROI is. But it's becoming increasingly difficult. Do you have to have an influencer strategy or a social media strategy? Yes, you need to. You need to have awareness. People need to see your name. They need to see it maybe 7, 8, 9 times before they see an ad on Talabat and then actually click order. So it is becoming increasingly more difficult, but I think there's innovative ways to think about it and to track it.
Yeah, so let's hear from you, Kareem, if you want to add to that and what measures you are taking in Papa John's to measure.
So one of the things that we also need to consider for content creators and influencer marketing is brand positioning, right? Because this is when you have people that are talking about your brand. You're not trying to say, look, I'm all about better, and you're saying it on your own. And a good example we have on a global level when it comes to Papa John's is a guy called Dotoli, right? So he is a Papa John's operator. So he's back of the house. He's the one that slaps the pizza and does it. And I'm pretty sure it appeared on some of your feeds because the guy became super popular. And the way he spins the pizza on music and all that kind of stuff made him really iconic. And as a brand, of course, he's a Papa John's back of the house. So actually, the story is his father owns a franchise of Papa John's in the US. And then he talks about the brand, and he talks about all the key pillars that make us different. And because he's saying it so naturally, and this is what helps the brand in brand positioning, so your awareness and consideration has been created by that one person who fit the whole story. And so from a tracking point of view, sometimes it's not about just the bottom of the funnel. So it's the impact that influencers have on the more emotional metrics that they associate with the brand. So the whole better, though totally played a very big role in establishing that amongst consumers' minds. And you're talking at scale, because his videos have 70 million views, right? And building on that, it's up to the brand to jump on that wagon as well, and then direct that message. This was a great story for Papa John's, and now extending it, now that there's a hype around that topic. So for us here in the UAE, Saudi, Jordan, we're riding on it, and we have our own competitions in the stores for performing those slappers. And this is something that will come very soon, which will create a similar kind of hype, because it is something that really sets us apart. So it's really riding the wave rather than forcing it. We've tried in the past saying, look, these are the key RTBs for our brand, and we want you to include it in your content. And it works less when it's like a list and it's forced. Get them to come, taste the brand, taste the products. If they genuinely love the product, we have a very high success rate on that. The product is great. Then they would really be willing to talk about it wholeheartedly on their own. And that's what we did in Jordan when we opened up in Jordan. And it was really, the success of Jordan was really based on influencers, because they came in, they tasted the product, and they were like, this is amazing.
Right.
And then you let it flow.
Okay.
It's more organic.
It's more organic,
Sounds
exactly.
more organic.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that the lunch is sponsored today by Papa John's.
Khan is here.
Yeah. The big boss is here as well to take that decision. But now there's a room full of marketers here, and I'm not one. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to ask you all a show of hands. I know this is a question that probably would open a can of worms, but which do you think is the best platform, social media platform, that works for influencer marketing? So let's go with the first one that comes to mind, TikTok. How many of you think TikTok's a good idea?
Really?
Well, that's quite a few. Very few. Instagram? That's big. What else is there? LinkedIn?
Snapchat.
Yes,
Okay, we'll come to you guys. Wait. LinkedIn. Nobody thinks LinkedIn is good enough. Snapchat. Few here and there. What are you to egg me on? Tell me which are the other ones. YouTube. Yes, YouTube. I forgot that. YouTube.
No, Instagram.
Facebook.
Oh, there we go.
There are some of you who are not raising hands for anything, so I'm guessing that you don't believe that influencer marketing works at all. But now over to you. What do you think personally? Which other platforms that you think work?
Well, start.
Start from here, Emma.
Okay, so I refer to the international numbers as well. So as per the State of Marketing report, 2024, they said 80% of the respondents said that TikTok is number one, and the least is LinkedIn. Okay, but the second after TikTok is Instagram. Okay?
Fair enough.
But again, my answer will be it is different from a region to another and from a country to another. So, for example, in KSA, number one is TikTok, then the second is Snapchat. Okay? If you will go to UAE, I believe number one it will be TikTok, then Instagram. Then if you went to America or other countries, the answer
Right.
will be different.
Right. So it differs geographically
Yeah,
as
but-
well, right?
To align, I believe TikTok is getting there, and they are number one now, because everyone now, they need to hire the younger people and the youth, because like hire them young,
So get
you
them.
own them forever. So yeah.
Okay. Alex?
I agree. I think TikTok is the number one platform globally. I mean, you just need to open your phone and go on it, and you just go down the dark hole, which it just knows exactly what to show you. Obviously, Meta with Instagram and their Reels has copied some of the algorithms which TikTok is running. Snapchat is very powerful here. It also is in KSA. What I like about Snapchat is the number of views at that point in time that you can get from, depending on the influencer you work with, can be higher than TikTok or Instagram. Like, you really need to nail it. Like this guy you're talking about, he nailed it and he got the 70 million views. It's not that easy to get 71 million views. It's quite difficult. And it can be irregular. You can go on an TikTok page and somebody has 1 million views and then 5,000 views. Whereas on Snapchat, if somebody always gets 100,000 views, it will vary by 25% or something like that, but you're not going to have such a massive, change.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I stand.
Yeah.
Kareem?
No, definitely. Numbers-wise, it is TikTok, but it also depends on your objective, your target audience, and the younger generation is TikTok. But it's also more about how you utilize each platform. Your creative on TikTok needs to be drastically different than your creative on Instagram. Shoppable ads really work well on Instagram. People are used to seeing like a guy wearing a jacket that stretches and then say, "Oh, that's pretty good. Don't do it. I tried it. Doesn't work." But on TikTok, the messaging, the music that you use, the trends that are there, the filters, if you don't do it that way, then you're really wasting your time on if you spend behind it, because people are a specific demographic. They're used to something. And we all have that kind of herd mentality. That's why people ride on trends. So if the trends are there and they're very strong, going against the trend will just insta-skip.
Yes. Rana, your
Okay,
personal
so
favorite?
definitely TikTok is trending a lot. However, Instagram is still one of the most powerful platforms that I believe businesses or brands needs to consider both or more than one platform, not just to rely on one. And back to the objective and the target audience. So, for example, Gen Z is always on TikTok. Snapchat, it's based on markets as well. So KSA is known with Snapchat and TikTok are the most powerful also platforms. So depending on your target audience and on your objective, but I believe you need to target more than one platform and not just to limit the brand with one. So this is to maximize the reach and the whole campaign awareness.
Right. So the general consensus on the stage is TikTok. I'm happy to let you all know that, as you would have seen in the agenda, there is a session on TikTok for all of you.
Yes.
And that is a certified session. I didn't ask them to say TikTok, by the way. But it is a certified session which you could get a certificate from Inc. Academy. Any questions from the audience? Can we have the mic, please? Just a second. The mic's coming. Oh, it's gone there. Okay.
Hi, so I have a question for Alexander. I know it not by being apple to apple comparison, but I'm a big fan of your direction on social media, especially that you're putting your face to the brand, which is kind of a bit different than what people are doing. Going back to measuring the ROI, influencers, it might be a bit challenging, but since everything is done in-house, whether from the post, the page that is posting, as well as you personally, how is that measured? Thank you.
How do I measure the return on my time invested in creating content?
Yeah.
Look, in my opinion, I have no choice as the owner of my brand or the face of my brand to be creating a video every single day. That's my goal. I built Burger 28 on cheap Facebook ads, I would say, and having other people like my staff involved. I have the cheese volcano, which went viral as well. So I understood all these kind of virality metrics before the word really viral was created through TikTok. It's just something I can't afford not to do. If I can post something for free, this is one of the greatest leverages in the world, is the ability to post something for free and 1 million people to see it. Where else or on what other platform is that opportunity present? So I think I would do a disservice to the brand, to myself, if I didn't harness that every single day and try my best to get my face in front of as many people as possible, which indirectly puts my brand in the face of as many people as possible. Now, do some people like it? Yes, other people don't like it. But at the end of the day, whether people are talking positively or negatively, if you're not hurting anyone, you're not discriminating people, you're just sending out good vibes, I don't think that there can be a negative ROI on that. Measuring it is very difficult. All of us are sitting here trying to explain how we measure it. But I do see a difference. If I were to stop posting completely, and I've done this for like a week, I can see a slight difference in my revenue. I can see a difference in my engagement, obviously, on the platforms. So it's just not something I'm willing to risk. So I just keep pumping out content as much as I can. Thank you for your question.
There's a
Thank you
question
for
here.
being,
Sufyan, right here in front.
Hi, good afternoon. My question is for Mr. Kareem. Earlier on in the session, you mentioned about using AI tools for influencers and marketing. Can you share some of the tools that PJP has been using and that we could also adopt into our strategies?
Yeah, definitely. So we more move our agencies towards using the tools. So the tools you have, Acquire, it's one of the tools that helps in selecting the influencers. Then you have a couple actually. You have also one that's called, let me just remember the name, Hype Auditor. So Hype Auditor is really good at checking whether it's genuine followers and if your investment is gonna reap out great benefits. And then you have NeoFlow, which is more about looking into the prediction on whether your campaign is gonna perform well or not. Yeah, because it will look at historical campaigns, right? And it will say, okay, within these campaigns, that was the engagement rate, click-through rate, and all that kind of things. And then if you fill out the details of what's your average basket size, and then you link that generally to your MMPs that are gonna track the whole funnel, then you would get a better prediction on whether it's the right investment for you. So these are some of the tools that we could do.
Thank you so much.
Any more questions? There's someone
Hi.
there. Yeah.
So I do strongly believe that influencer campaign is really a game changer for the brand. But in the market, few of the influencers, not few, like lots of fake influencers are also there who having the bot followers, views, likes. So how we will differentiate between these fake influencers and the real, like who having the real strong audience, so the brand get helpful from that influencers?
Ahmed?
I can take this question. So, first of all, there are a lot of content creators out there, but they are not influencers. Okay? So, content creators, they are.
Hallelujah. This man deserves it.
So, he's an influencer.
No.
He's not a content creator. So, the difference between a content creator and influencer who will influence his audience. He will tell them to do something. They will go directly and do it because they trust him. Okay, they are so engaged with him. Okay, so first of all, you have to collab with an influencer, not a content creator. Then coming to your second question, how to know if they are genuine or they are fake. So as Kareem said, there are a lot of tools here like the Hype Auditor. You just type the name of the influencer and he will tell you the quality of his audience, how much it will give you the percent of the genuinity. So it's so easy now to know with all the social listening and social tools and the metrics that out there, you can know easily if it's fake or he's genuine.
Just to touch on that point, also, you can look at how many views that they're getting, or you can just ask them to open up their.
Exactly, yeah.
You can buy followers, but I mean, when you look, I can look at a reel and I can tell you whether it's fake or real just based on the engagement.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
guess
there's-
that comes from experience as well.
Yeah, it comes from
right?
experience, but what you can also do is ask them if you really want to avoid them from doing Photoshop or anything, you can screen record, ask them to open up their dashboard. You can see how many people have seen that page.
Exactly. The engagement rate. But for example, it doesn't make any sense that someone is having 100,000 of followers and his views on his reels is 100.
Yeah, correct.
So, and also in this Hype Auditor, if you put his name, it will tell you the engagement rate.
Yeah.
So if it's less than 1% and his following base is 100,000, so it doesn't make sense. He's fake.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
I think we can have one last question because even though everybody is looking engaged here in this discussion, but it is time for lunch. So one last question, somewhere that side. Yeah.
In one way, it's a bit. Hi, my name is Maya. I'm a consultant in hospitality. So just to make it short, influencers in one way, yes, we can't avoid them. It's a part of what is today advertising part. Yeah, before it was more direct and all the other things. But how do you see having numbers of influencers against building your own brand ambassadors? And have you ever tried building the brand ambassadors upon your customers, which become basically an influencers, because besides their shares of stories and all of that and their experiences, they become repetitive. They share around their networks, which around their networks becomes a really food flow and not just basically awareness reach. Because what I always saw, influencers in one way, numbers of them, they might be today you, tomorrow them. So does it make a validity of bringing the customers back, except the awareness side part? Or building a brand ambassador might be a better choice, or I would say equivalent choice to just having the numbers of influencers to track it as a awareness point forward.
So I guess that's also touching upon the user-generated content part of it, if I'm not mistaken.
I can try to answer this one. There's no clear-cut answer because brand ambassadors are definitely what you want. Finding a brand ambassador that has an established base that is wide, usually there are two things. Either they're extremely expensive or they just wouldn't work with you, right? Because why would I work with one brand if I can get income from multiple similar brands?
The incentives are too high to
Exactly, and otherwise, that dough totally has become very famous and become extremely expensive, and that becomes the challenge on a brand perspective. So what we would want, brand ambassadors for sure. Now,
No, I didn't think about brand ambassador buying them, finding them in between, or building that type of a level of connection with an influencer that will not just do it to you today, you tomorrow, the other ones, right? So that's what I have done. I have built the brand ambassadors in between the people that are the customers and have done the shares and checking their profiles and see that it brings, and because it brings directly the revenue back, it's something that is very trustable and it's directly a revenue source. On the other side, influencer might be just visibility on a point, or identifying an influencer which you build the relationship, not just a money paid front,
No, agreed. So it's really loyal customers that have a following. Then definitely this is what we would want as brands.
I believe this happened naturally. So if I'm loyal to a brand and maybe I'm a content creator or I have some followers, then naturally I will be sharing with my community and tag this brand and recommend it to friends and family. So this type of marketing happens naturally through your customers and loyal customers. But today, if I'm a brand I want to promote a new product or I have a new campaign, then I cannot go to my customers and ask them to promote this campaign for me. Then I need to go and select the best influencers that can fit this brand or this product to promote this product for me. But again, going back to the topic of brand ambassadors, I believe not any brand can afford the brand ambassadors. Definitely, it will be more organic to collaborate with a brand ambassador, but not everyone can afford that.
He is a brand ambassador for Burger 28. So.
Yes.
I get paid for it as well.
He's lovely. Lovely. So I think with that, let's wrap it up because we are beyond time and of course, like I said, it's lunchtime. So thank you, my amazing
Thank you, guys.
panelists
Thank
and
Thank you
content
so much.
creators. Thank you.